this meeting now. Call the meeting to order. First on the list is review and approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second it.
Approve. And the next thing is a warrant. None of us have the warrant?
I put them on there, yeah.
Too much stuff here tonight. They make a motion to approve these from my look over.
Move that they be accepted as written.
I'll second it. Okay.
Payroll. Okay, the last one for minute. Okay, now the CEO appointment. We gotta sign certificate of appointment.
Yeah.
Dawn Kent.
Yeah. We're doing your official appointment right now.
Okay.
And would you give Robin a phone number or something where she can call you, or a number that the townspeople can contact you?
Yes, I think she has to, but I'll make sure she does, that she does.
Yeah, okay.
I definitely will do that.
Well, the question was more about, in terms of, but we can talk about that later. Town clerk calling in and on your phone, and whether or not you had a cell phone and all of that good stuff.
Right, I do have a
Yeah,
cell phone.
okay.
That's what I have, yes.
The next thing is the winter sand bids. I got 2 bids. What do you guys open for them?
Winter sand and gravel.
That's a good idea to do.
Okay, this is going on the sand and gravel, and the cost is $5.62 per yard, for a total of $16,860.
This is a bid by PYSD. Price per yard is $6, or 3,000 yards at a total of $18,000.
So it looks like we're sand and gravel, it's no bid.
Yeah.
Yep.
All bid.
And I'll second it. In favor?
Okay. You heard that, right?
That's all I shut up for.
Have a good day. Good.
All right, now, we have a special town meeting on moving some money around for the tri-town compactor replacement.
You want me to speak to it? You want to talk about it?
No, can I guess?
Yeah.
Compact is a 1973, it's been rebuilt 3 times, it's hammered. And so we gotta do something, so we had 2 auctions, either a brand new one, or I can't remember what it was, 46,000?
Yeah.
And then, or a second-hand one that had been inside of a warehouse that's been completely rebuilt with all new power units and stuff for, what was that, 32,000?
No,
40? So we had a vote last night, and we voted to go with this refurbished one. But now we gotta transfer some money out of fund balance, you know, to cover the costs of this thing, so.
So the options were to repair the existing one for $35,000.
Which is all one out.
Yeah, it doesn't meet OSHA requirements.
Or this refurbished one for $40,280, which meets all the new warranties and stuff, or a brand new one for $46,000.
But a brand new one was like 12 weeks out, you know, would be in the middle of December, if we're lucky.
So, anyway.
What do you say, it's putting what?
13.5 is what, we were told would be our share.
Was what, 15?
13.5. I think there's a little bit in the reserve over there.
You said 15, right?
13.5.
13.
Comes up to 39.5, or 45. Enough.
So I make a motion, we transfer the money from fund balance into the, tri-town account.
You can get that on the meeting board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just, give us what we have a special town.
Yeah. Okay, I second the motion.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we get to up to the date of the town meeting stuff, and maybe that's something we can work with Rob with. Now the special town meeting, we get another special town meeting to address some petitions. You know more about that?
Yeah, so, this is Fox has submitted petitions for, liquor licenses. You know, to sell spirits on Sunday and all other days, he wants to have it consumed there on Sundays and all other days. So there's 4 extra petition items that need to be voted on. State law says that it requires a referendum vote specifically dedicated to that topic. And, you know, there's, you have to have ballots all printed up and available 30 days in advance, and we have to hold a hearing on the topic I think at least 7 days prior to the vote. So we've got some work to do to set up a time for the meeting, but we'll do it as quickly as we can.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rules on this vote.
Can we tie it in to make sure they have window washer fluid in their gas station island?
I think there's 4 questions.
All right, the next thing you get is an agreement letter for redemption of property to Brian Buzzell. Scotty, you know, he was asking me, you know, if we could get a letter.
Yeah, just a simple letter saying where I've already paid the back taxes, and I just want a simple letter stating that when I get it cleaned up, that I get a quick claim deed. That's all I need.
I don't see a problem with that, do you? And I looked in the minutes.
The minutes actually state that.
Yeah, they do.
The minutes good enough for you?
Is that?
The minutes of the last meeting state that. Would that be good enough for you? Good sign?
Yeah, just something that states that once it's cleaned up, that I get the deed. Quick one, yeah.
Once a property is cleaned up and inspected by the town,
Yep.
the town would process a quick claim deed to be to Brian.
Well, some of it, but the lady that's helping me, she kinda wants something in writing too, because she owns an excavation company, and if I come with that piece of paper, it'll be cleaned up a lot quicker. Cause we'll just pull dumpsters in there and just, the trailer will be gone, refrigerator, everything. Yeah,
I think we could mark up something like that.
that's,
Don't see a problem.
that's all she wants, just something that she can look at. Cause it's happened to her in the past and it didn't happen, so she's kinda leery. That's all I need.
I say, we can give you a copy of the minutes where it's spelled out in there, or we can just write another letter.
Or just, just write something down, that Debbie can type up something or something.
It's not the hookup one.
Just a photocopy of this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just a book. Yeah,
It's got a
Signed
signature on
signed by
it.
the selectmen.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not, this is probably.
yeah, that would work,
It's signed off on, that's public
Okay.
information.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you get it all cleaned up, give us a call. We'll
Yeah,
get it.
well, like I said, I talked to Bruce the other day about burning maybe some of it, and he's getting in touch with some people, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we plan on, once we get this, trying to get some dumpsters up there and, get it done. There's a lot to be done.
You understood what Mike was saying, that the quick claim deed will go to Brian.
It goes to me. I paid the taxes.
No, it goes to Brian, the owner. And then it's between you and him to work out.
I thought that whoever paid the taxes,
Brian will have to give you a deed.
Yeah, he can cut you a deed,
okay,
otherwise someone can come in and pay your taxes.
Okay.
And take your house.
So this,
all right,
there's signatures and
okay,
your, right here.
yep, all right, okay,
Darryl.
thank you.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the sand pond coverage.
Wait out there, I'll be.
Well, how do you think the coverage is?
Yeah, not too bad, I guess.
I guess Robin's had some complaints.
Yeah, I had some problems today.
Did you get them all taken care of?
I'm waiting on, sheriff.
Did you have to call the sheriff?
Yep.
Did he show up?
Nope. This is over an hour, I sat down there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this was on the UTV that didn't have a sticker?
The ATV didn't have a sticker, and there was another vehicle down there. Didn't like me tore up, but they didn't have a sticker.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who that was. That was, Corey, St. Pierre.
I don't know,
Yeah, he was,
it was a white pickup truck.
that was the gentleman who, doesn't have a driver's license, so he has a green on there.
I sent them up here twice, or not 3 times today, to get sticker. And they still end up going swimming.
Caleb is staying till 5 at night.
Yeah.
You guys get some times that overlap a little, Mike?
I don't think we know that, I know of.
The concern was for like a little bit of evening coverage when people get, out of work.
After 5 o'clock.
Right, they show up, at the beach, and that was the concern that we were getting from other people, that nobody was manning the beach, but yet there were people there in the evening. So, Debbie had gotten some calls, and, didn't know if maybe you and Caleb could stagger a little bit of a couple of evening hours here and there. Just to kind of.
What time?
So, if it's dark around 8 o'clock now, maybe 7.
Which means start lighting.
Yeah.
Like if you took turns or, staggered your hours a little bit or something, it's just from the feedback that we're getting from people, people will go home, have dinner or whatever, and then come back with the family after work.
No, unless you want to have us both down there, no.
You probably could stagger the days maybe, like.
Just a couple of days a week. I mean, we're
Yeah.
asking them to work 7 days a week now.
Yeah, no, I see that,
It isn't like they get much time off.
Yeah. Maybe, like, one week do 2 days, next week do 3 different days or something like that, just kind of later. Yeah, start later. What time do you guys get down there?
Sometimes I get down there in the morning, like 10 or so, and, I put in 3 hours, he's usually there from 1 to 5, usually gets 5 hours in.
Yeah, that's what it says on his side, but I don't think he don't have a license, so he's depending on somebody else to pick him up.
Yeah.
So what I could do, I could do that shift right there, if he wants to pick up something else in the morning or afternoon. Maybe he'll pick up something in the morning. Then I go till, I probably go 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Well, even if you did it a couple of days a week,
Yeah.
just enough to alternate it around a little, mate. So there isn't a pattern,
Yeah.
That's something you two guys can work out, or you want me to come down?
I'll have to talk to him about that.
And see what his ride situation is and stuff,
Yeah.
then go from there. All right. Next thing we got is active kids budget. I guess she's gonna run out of money in a couple of weeks. We don't know much about it either.
My understanding is, whatever she's got left is gonna roll over in the
It's fund balance.
fund balance, and she wanted to know if she could buy some stuff before then, before that happened.
Wonder how much money she's talking.
Well, from what Debbie said, that because of the 6-month budget, that's what my understanding was, that everything went back into, it rolled back into the fund balance, or, so she didn't have a starting balance per se, enough to hold her through with, salaries, plus, so this, tonight's warrant would wipe pretty much everything out in terms of salary. So she's got 2 weeks left of the program and she wanted to do something fun. But where that money is already, already went into fund balance and she didn't have sufficient funds to begin with, then somehow we need to offset that to make sure that she's covered for the end.
I don't know what to do here. We can't just take it out of our balance.
She mentioned having a meeting about employee changes, at some point, but that doesn't, so I don't know if we should set something up with her to get a better idea of figures as to what Debbie would know probably salary-wise, but not for what she has planned in terms of.
She's talking about hiring somebody else and just being a director.
Well, Carla's getting done at the end of the season and stuff there, so she's replacing Carla. There's a couple of boys that are going back to school, so,
She's hiring somebody to replace herself.
yeah. To be honest with you,
That's what she said.
Well, she wants to step back and focus more on the director
Right.
responsibilities is what she's saying. So this person would replace Carla, but, it sounded like with more hours perhaps.
To do more of the administrative stuff and.
Right, but without speaking with her, I don't wanna speak for
No.
her. That was my interpretation of the email, so I think it's best maybe if we set up a meeting with her.
you would think she would come to us before she needs, to put the fire out. Why don't we do that then? We'll get in touch with her and see if we can set up a meeting quick.
In the afternoon after 2? Okay. Any afternoon?
Yep,
I'm not available Thursday and Friday this week.
okay. As long as we got interviews to do.
Wednesday,
Yeah, as long as
yeah, yeah, so it's, like I said, Thursday and Friday, I'm tied up, so.
not this week anyway.
The next one is a 2022 and 2023 tax bill.
Okay, talk to. Turns out that we didn't say the Mother May I that the state requires, and that we are supposed to explicitly state the date when, taxes are due and when interest will accrue. We didn't do it, we haven't done that in this town before. And so, it makes it so that we can't implement the 2 tax billings this cycle, unfortunately. We tried to recover, but we were told legally that there is no recovery at this point. That's the bottom line.
She likes to.
Like Dwight said.
On the tax bill, I know that was a big oversight, but there's gonna have to be something you're gonna have to do about it, because everybody's dependent on that tax bill. It's gonna be a tough year for everybody around here. They're not gonna be able to pay that full amount, they're gonna have some serious issues with a lot of people not being able to come up with that extra amount. I know that was a big oversight. The question is why didn't you have somebody look at it before you put it out there to make sure this didn't happen, where there's so many rules that have changed.
Well, unfortunately, that's not one of the rules that's written around the tax bill thing. It's one of the things we discover after the fact. You know, there are some good guides out there for townspeople. MMA does a very good job, but that one wasn't there. It was very explicit as to how you go about changing your fiscal year, what's needed to do to tax bills, but it didn't say that particular one. I guess everybody else has been doing it for so long, I assume we would be there.
So why do you have to go by their guidelines if they're not that specific?
State law.
But if they're not that specific about it, how do they expect these towns to abide by it? If you don't know how to do it?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, they want it done a certain way before you can go into splitting it in half, the tax bill, correct?
Well, unfortunately, it's not all written in one spot. Here's the cookbook on how to do it. There's a guide on how to change the fiscal year, how you can go through either a 6-month tax bill and then go into a 12-month tax bill. Other towns go into an 18-month tax bill all at once to do the transition, and they step you through that process in pretty good detail. But the impact on that particular warrant item, I haven't seen mentioned in that process, unfortunately. Well, we talked about this when we went through the things that we're not charging more taxes on an annual basis through this process. You won't get another tax bill until next year in 2023.
But this is a tough year for money for everybody, between the COVID, the inflation, and everything else.
I guess the question might be, if we've been doing this illegally for 200 years, why not 201 years?
When we ask the lawyer the question,
Then you
get the
have to
legal,
do-
you get legal reply, and you follow what the lawyer says.
So then you have to do it legally once you ask the question. Yeah. I understand.
We're committed.
I don't want to understand,
No.
but I understand.
So when does it start to accrue?
60 days after.
And then whenever the bills are, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember the date of it either.
September 26th.
60 days from when?
September 26th.
So that's 60 days from July 26th, right?
Or 27th, yes. 26th, yeah, 26th.
26th is the day it's due, or 26th is when you start
Accruing interest, so that's the day it's due, September 26th. Because the commitment was made
Yeah.
here in Selectmen's Meeting, July 26th. So 60 days later, September 26th.
So they're gonna send a bill out?
You should have gotten it today's mail,
Oh,
yesterday's mail?
yeah, I didn't get the news thing.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I
As
got
long as they
mine.
get a bill, as long as they get a bill, I just don't want to not pay my tax.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the next thing is the comprehensive plan update, the initial meeting. You guys went to that?
Yes. Matt?
A good meeting, everybody but a couple of people were, there. We had the, advisory committee, present, which is, Bob, Joe, Don, Tracy, and me, and we had, all but 2 members of the, review council, and we had the people from SMG, D, and C there. We had a good discussion about whether we really need to be, consistent with, the state guidelines or not. And the state guidelines for a comprehensive plan are about 50 pages, thick. The upshot of the discussion is that there are really few upsides to being consistent with all those, specific demands. And you can request a waiver from the state's, approval like Brownfield is doing. So that's something we'll have to, make a decision on as we, get further along with the plan. There's some very good ideas that came out. One is for the, creation of more of a long-range planning or ordinance committee, because what happens with the comprehensive plan is that, you gather all this public input, you do your chapters, and you get to a point where you say, all right, if this is our plan and these are our priorities, what does that mean for the policies and procedures and the specific ordinances that the town wants to enact to guide us in the future, to achieve this vision that is laid out in the plan? And some other communities have had good success with creating an ordinance committee charged specifically with developing some of the policies and procedures, enumerated in the plan, with a focus on immediate needs in a 1 to 3 year time frame, median, or intermediate needs 4 to 6, and long-term needs 7 to 10. And you might say, well, why isn't this what the planning board is for? And the answer could be yes, but, with the few years I've had on the planning board and Joe's many years, I think we see that the planning board gets tied up with, immediate planning board needs and CUPs and things like that, and is not as effective at long-term planning and ordinance development and changing. And SMPD&C said, there are some newer tools available for ordinance writing that can be leveraged by an ordinance committee. So that's something to think about. We had some good discussion on how we get people involved in the plan, and the importance for transparency to the community of the planning process, and how we can reach out to younger people and communicate with them online. But we're going to need to have at least one community forum to invite people in and have some public discussion on what the important issues are to address in the survey. We can discuss whether we need a Zoom capability for that or not. We did get into one pretty important issue, and that is a land issue with the potential for very large acreages coming on the market. An example was Nature's Wilderness possibly being, in 10 or 20 years, converted into a future development. Because the company that bought Nature's Wilderness is not a campsite company. What they do is commercial and residential development. So if you look at what they do subdivisions and business parks and things like that. And this strategy that they've initiated recently of buying up big tracts of land that are currently campgrounds can be perceived to be a long-term strategy on their part to acquire land for, developments and subdivisions as, urbanization creeps out from the cities. And so that's something to consider, and it's not just nature's wilderness. I mean, Joe has 1,800 acres. Even though we determined during the meeting that Joe has been around since 1865, which makes him a vampire, you know, eventually he's going to expire, and then what happens to the 1,800 acres that he has? So these large tracts of land, you know, are something we want to think about when we do the plan. And it's even more important now because, you know, these subdivisions, you can have 2 to 4 units on every parcel, and you have big money coming in from out of town. Great start to the meeting, a lot of good discussion, and we set up to have monthly meetings with SMPD&C. The third Wednesday of every month, so we're going to have meetings on September 21st, October 19th, November 16th, December 21st, and I just wrote up a summary of the comprehensive planning process that Bob approved, and we're going to get it posted on the website, and it you know, lets anybody in town who goes on the website and reads about it, learn about the comprehensive plan process, and invites them to come to those monthly meetings to promote transparency of the process.
The meeting itself, the kickoff meeting, is on YouTube.
Great. Has that been posted on the website?
I need to, when I have your letter,
You'll post
there's a draft, so I thought we would put a blurb there that said also see our municipal meeting, so that people can watch
Wonderful.
it.
Yes.
What time are these meetings start?
3 o'clock. The first one ran about 2 hours, but I don't think the monthly meetings will go necessarily that long. You know, we'll do an agenda for each one. It kind of depends on the work product from the SMPD&C and the core team.
I think a lot of people don't understand the comprehensive plan. You know, to me, it looks like it's long-range planning. You know, if you read the old comprehensive plan and see what's taken place, you know, you mentioned the large landowners. Look at the Simon land that's changed hands.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's changed how we've been as a town, and it could change some more.
Next thing you know, we'll be gone.
Wow, it's creeping closer to us all the time.
Where's Wyndham?
Wyndham, yes. Yeah.
Busiest intersection in the state.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Year round now, it used to be just the summer, and now year round.
busy all the time.
Yeah. I come through there every day.
I read somewhere that towns that don't manage this process wind up with a lot of strip malls
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah. But,
Yeah. Brilliant. You got anything else, Matt? Next thing is 19 Dearborn Road status.
It's a list.
Just 2 minutes to go on.
The status is that we have somebody who's squatting on the property, and occupying the house. And probably the worst issue is being in signs, I was gonna take Wes over yesterday and post these signs and screw boards across the door saying, stay out. But, we will try it tomorrow, Wes.
You left it with Don and me last Friday, that we were gonna laminate them, and then we were gonna go up together and put on the house and screw boards across the door.
And what we need is your signature.
Do you have a schedule when we're gonna do that?
How about tomorrow?
Okay, what time?
Fine, I think it'll be a fine day. In the afternoon, I've got things in the morning. Don, you and Don can do it.
Need someone to sign right there? Yep, go ahead.
Hey, Bob, when I was up there today mowing, there was one male, one female, and about a 18-month-old child there.
Yep. No,
Just
What time do you want to do that?
for a house that isn't safe, probably make sure it's on the double. Get it.
Huh?
You want to meet me there, or do you want me to come here?
I can meet you there, and, I'll see if we can get this laminated,
All right.
and I'll bring some boards, and 2x4s, and screws, and
Hey, Wes.
All right.
put it across the door.
Yeah, speak louder.
Yeah,
Is there still power to the building?
I'm gonna take some pictures of it.
Yes.
What do you want? Yeah.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
I don't know if they're using like generators or what their extension for them.
Is there still the CMP power to the building?
I don't think so. Last time when I was up there, I pulled up with the meter, and it looks like the breakers that go from the meter down in the house have been pulled out. And what they told us was that they don't have service there, but they were running a generator, I think, plugging in the ceiling out there.
What it sounded like when we were there. There was a generator running when we were there. There's still a meter on the house, but I'm not sure it's working.
Do we have anything for eviction notices?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, the next thing's the planning board interviews. They'll start tomorrow at 2:30. Robert, did you get a hold of, Mike Houston?
Yes, and he needs another 5 days quarantine.
Yeah, 'cause his wife didn't come to food pantry today either, so.
They both have had the COVID. So, what I was thinking is Victoria had responded by email canceling or wishing to reschedule for the latter part of next week. So I didn't know if I could try to coordinate both of them, like, Thursday afternoon or something.
I'd say try it.
Sounds good to me,
Yeah.
She said, I think it's Thursday or Friday is what I have written down here, so we could get them both in on the same day. Then that would wrap it up. So you'll have 2 tomorrow.
Okay. 2 next week.
Yeah.
So later on next week.
So we'll have you some extra people.
No such thing as extra people.
So 2:30 and 3:30 tomorrow, because Victoria was kind of in the middle, so we put 30 minutes apart. so.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like it. Yeah, you hear that?
Well said.
Tom?
Just give you an update on the water situation. So, finally got a hold of Ben at Well Done Water, and he came up today, pulled the cover off the well. Can't really tell anything other than it's, the galvanized pipe that leads from the trap down to the pump at the bottom. We have to get a crane to haul it out. You don't know how many feet of, 2-inch galvanized pipe might be there. we need to pull it out, replace the pump. He's gonna talk to, Ben is gonna talk to, Charlie Ward and get back to us. We have no data on it.
I know that.
We have no data on it.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, maybe
I
after
don't know how
this.
deep it is, we know that it's probably a 5 horsepower pump, which is very big.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Robin, I usually forget you.
Well, I was just chatting with Bruce here. About the well, the fan is so loud that I couldn't hear
Couldn't
you.
hear you, yeah.
Especially Bob, because he speaks
You still speak low, yeah.
low, yeah. So, about 19 Dearborn Road and the possibility of having like a controlled burn with the fire department. He said if the floors aren't safe, which we know at least one of the rooms isn't, then he wouldn't wanna put his guys, I'm talking for you.
We don't mind
So,
doing
he.
Actually, I should be taking my paycheck.
Well, I told you you need to make me a firefighter, because that's what I do every day. So, he said that he would recommend not putting the guys in there for their safety,
Tear it down.
knock it in, and then torch it.
And then torch it. If that's the case, if it's as bad as you're saying it is. I talked to Fred Miner down there, Woods Mills, where Douglases used to live, and I can't think of any other names, but I know the Douglases. Yeah. You can see that floor doing that, put them in, so, we came up the other day, and either you give knock it in and burn it there, right on top of the ground, there's just no solid there, it's just a plastic. He said he might take it down to the mill and set it down there and touch it off this winter. So, I would recommend doing that. If it's not safe, I don't want guys going in and turning or anything like that.
I'm thinking more of carpets and exterior tax,
We can do that with a pile.
like we used to do, and through the windows, you know.
But the thing is, I still have people like Howard and stuff, we're going in.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't wanna do that, the floor's bad,
Yeah.
that's not getting that practice.
So that raises another question. Do we have the equipment to knock it in?
Yeah, we can knock it in. You gonna let me destroy stuff? Yeah, I'm all about it, let's go. I'll have that baby in tonight. Should be a pile of rubble.
Well, I don't think, because the initial signs were torn down, that's my understanding.
Right.
They were ripped up. These new signs, even though it says by penalty of law, I had typed on there, I don't think that that's gonna stop. I don't think putting locks on doors, the sooner it's down, probably the safer it will be for anybody that's attempting to squat there.
have to move some vehicles before we get in
Well, you're taking in equipment that moves vehicles, won't you?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. You're gonna be on call.
What about boats? Because there's a couple of those too.
RVs?
Mm.
I could move anything.
What's that gonna on, right?
Sheriff's office? Yeah. That's
I had mentioned before when those were talking about thinking burning it down, that lot's not buildable if you burn it down. You have to leave some fragment of the house there to rebuild. The rule is if it's a non-conforming lot, you can build on it as long as you can meet setbacks. Right now, the house is too close to the road, but if you go 75 feet back, then whatever you build's gonna be too close to the stream on the backside. So, if somebody buys the place and is clever enough, he can probably destroy quite a bit of the house and leave 2 walls up, the side wall or back wall, and rebuild from that. Otherwise, you got land that you're gonna try to sell and you can't build on. You'll have to deal with it.
tiny home.
So
I think
I think
that's
the
a
first
lot
thing
for
we're concerned about is, condemning the building and getting the people out of it. It's not
Yep.
safe for people to be in right now.
Yep.
That's the first hurdle. And as owners, we're responsible for that.
Dylan, do you get anything?
It's gonna be a job to clean up the site for sure. There's a lot of stuff up there. It seemed like he might be trying to put things in trailers so he can move them. He seemed to understand when Les and I were there that he's gotta move, but he doesn't seem to have a place to go. So it's probably gonna be difficult, I would suspect.
Russ, you get anything more?
Nope.
Mary?
The only question I've got is, I know I paid half of my taxes, so is this next bill I'm gonna get, is that gonna be the other half? I don't understand this tax ordinance.
So the first bill was, covered the period of January first of this year to June 30th. The bill that you have now covers the period from July first of this year to June 30th of next year. So it's a 1-year bill.
Oh, so it's gonna be the whole amount?
It's the whole amount, but it's for 1 year. And the wrinkle is, we originally thought that we would be able to let you pay half of it now.
Yeah, I
And the other
understand
half
that.
of it later. So in this 12-month period of
So
this
basically
year,
what I'm doing is I'm paying the half that I didn't pay, plus another half.
for the next period, right?
Okay, now I get it, I
You're
get
going
it.
from a calendar year to a fiscal year.
I understand it now, I just didn't get it, I'm sorry.
My phone has been ringing off the hook today.
Yeah, I just, I understand it now, I just,
So it's the same annual rate.
so when June comes, or whenever it is you're gonna start doing it again, will you be able to do this half a year thing?
We will put the proper words in the warrant for next year
Okay,
that sets specific times and dates.
okay, all right,
It has to have 2 dates, one
Okay.
for the first half and one for the second half.
okay, all right. Good.
I brought one of my tax bills up standards. I showed it, well, Debbie's got it now, the time and the dates and everything, all posted on the bill.
Yeah. And it's in the warrant.
Yeah.
That's where we were just going.
And it's my understanding that it doesn't have to be specifically 60 days, it can be whatever we decide that the town has to vote on it. So Sebago staggers theirs differently, they do like November and to keep the cash flow more consistent. But as long as it's voted on, then we can go with it.
Joe, you get anything? You all set? No?
We covered what we had.
What's that?
I said, we covered what I had to say.
You all set?
Yeah, I think so.
You folks?
We were here for the disorderly house.
Well, we don't have no sheriff yet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I will contact them. Maybe without arresting people, I don't know.
Stephen? Chris?
Good. Here are your 3 trucks. All the information to go with them. I'm glad you're sitting down. You guys can look at them, whatever. I'm just gonna do, from what I can figure out, Freightliner did a finance option, not a lease option. I believe Mac, I think, is a 6-year or a 7-year with no buyout. I believe they did a lease. And then International had the 5-year lease with a buyout at the end, none of which, it is a 5-year, not a year-to-year lease. So, there's all the information. All of them have the lease or purchase
pricing on the last page of each packet, I believe, or the front page, I don't remember. And then in the back should be the quote from Viking and HP Fairfield for their equipment. And I just got an email as I was walking in here, and it looks like the HP Fairfield came down by like $6,000, I think, since this quote. So, good news. Yeah. But you don't have the updated HP Fairfield, but it's, I think it's 100 and...
Now, Chris, excuse me, when you say equipment, what are you referring to?
So that's the dump body, the plow gear, the sander,
Okay.
all the, because you
It's
buy
stuff
the
that
truck.
makes it a plow truck.
Yeah, basically you
Okay.
buy the chassis, the cabin
Okay.
chassis motor from either Freightliner International or Mack, and then then they send it to either HP Fairfield or Viking, which in the past we have all HP Fairfield gear on all the trucks now. They outfit it and build the rest of the truck.
Like in one in Lewiston?
Viking's one in Lewiston, yeah. Yeah, so the quote, let me just pull that up just so you know. So the Fairfield quote that I just got as I was walking in was $108,000 versus $114,000 that's in your packet. So I can print those off and give them to you, or you can write them down.
So the 114 was Viking?
No, 114 was the original Fairfield.
Oh, so they actually went down?
Yeah, they came down from 114 to 108, 108,715 was the Fairfield quote that I just got.
And you're waiting on Viking?
No, Viking I had, which was 106, 2876.
Okay.
I can get you the whole packet if you
No,
want.
that's okay.
Well,
I was just looking to put some information in the minutes, that's all.
Have a whole packet.
So, Chris, I see the Viking name here, so that's, we would go with any lumber truck, right?
Yeah, Viking and Fairfield are both, that's the dump body and the plow gear, that'll go, their price stays the same throughout all three quotes.
All right, so I'm looking at O'Connor's,
Yep, that's the Mack.
a Mack truck,
Yep.
and they have a balance due of $285,782. When I get back in here, it says options. Option one, down payment mode, looks like it's,
Yeah, so,
that says then it says 6 years,
yeah, so they have a 6-year option
and then a 7
and then a 7-year option, yep. And what they did is, so the initial price is $297.82. And then it has they put a $5,000 down payment. So,
and this one is at the end of 6 or 7 years.
you own the truck. There's no buyout.
Okay. So this is not a lease?
No, I can't remember if Mac was a lease or if that was a financial option. Did I bring the specs for the Mac? I don't think I did. Okay, I can get it for you.
You assume it's comparable?
So the Mac is about twice the truck. You guys don't have to make the decision tonight, so.
Well, there's enough information.
Yeah, I can get you those copies.
the other day, sometimes, I mean, that's just right out. Only two that I can figure out with no problem is these two here, Layton and Medfield.
Yeah, so those two are the head yards.
What was the cheapest truck?
So, I believe,
Freightliner? Or the International?
I think Freightliner, if I remember right, so, the Freightliner was 251,117, and then, that's the International. So the International was looks like 243,545 was the International. Sorry, I totally pioneered you. Yeah. Yeah, so, International was looking like 18 to 24 when I talked to him, potentially. Freightliner is looking like the summer of 23, and Mac was the summer of 23. Yeah, we
I
can.
don't know what, I don't remember just what we approved, or how we didn't approve, the voters approved it.
But the, you have the exact one of those. All right.
I'll get you the guy, I'll get the Mack truck spec, just so you guys can look them over. I think it's the most updated one.
Okay.
So there's all that information for you. Other than that, the roadside mowing. And making a mess while we do it.
I guess that's it for tonight.
Don't be looking. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
Okay?